Awesome. Pleasure to welcome to the podcast Tommy Ricciardelli, goalie from Notre Dame. Tommy, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me, Coach Damon. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm excited to pick your brain about lacrosse goalie, but let's start with the story of the very first time you jumped into goal. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah. So it was house league. My dad was coaching. I was a little bit younger, so I was on a team with my brother, who's a grade above me. And my dad was basically like, "Hey, one of those normal house goalie stories where it's like you need someone to hop in net. Coach's son, younger kid on the team, was like, all right, pal, like you're going in. And I remember going in, shin guards and everything, the whole deal, trying to not get hit by the ball. And it was super fun. I remember just falling in love with it the first time that I got in there.
Really?
It's definitely yeah. I mean, it's fun being on the back line, being the one that people rely on. So I like that from the get-go.
Now, for a lot of youngsters and even, older goalies, that feeling of like being, the guy, be the spotlights on us can be really overwhelming. But you enjoyed it. What do you think, led to that? Was it just, your personality or was there something else there?
Yeah, no, I think it's just who I am. And everything that I do, I really hope that I'm someone that a lot of people can come to outside of lacrosse, just being like they have some sort of issue or something, if I can help. So it kind of carries over to that goalie position where they're kind of the last one to deal with a shot, a goal. So they're the last line of defense, and I kind of like being that person that people can go to and trust, especially for the def on the defensive side. Like people, I hope can trust me in the net, and then off the field as well. It's just that I think I have that type of personality where I hope that people can trust me and come to me
Yeah.
whenever they want. So yeah.
And that's, that's a tremendous life skill, right? So even, if you're a young goalie listening to this and you're like, well, that's not me, you can absolutely learn to be that kind of leader and be that kind of person like through the vehicle of goalie. That's why I
Yeah.
love lacrosse goalie so much because I mean, I was like kind of a leader, but I feel like after 4 years of goalie, it really just transformed, my personality
Mhm.
to where like as I go on into life now, like I've got these skills. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's taught me the position has taught me so much off the field as well.
Hmm.
And it's something I'm really grateful for, whether that's like the mental side of it or and stuff like that. So I really appreciate what the position has given me outside of lacrosse.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the mental game, but you said it's
Yeah.
it's taught me so much, outside the goalie, the position has taught me so much outside
Mhm.
off the field. What's one lesson that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that that mental side is really the biggest piece
Mm.
is just being able to forgive and forget, like being able to get over things really quickly, not necessarily going with the flow, but being able to ride those highs and lows, trying to stay neutral, stay poised through all those situations. I think it's really important, especially off the field when things aren't really going your way, just to keep that composure. And that's one thing that Corrigan says a lot for our team is just keep that composure, keep that poise, like you've done everything you can. You put yourself in a certain position, like keep that same level of the kind of calmness and steadiness. And that's something that I've just found super important, especially when dealing with like things like schoolwork. Like you take a bad test and you're
Mm.
like, oh crap, like I didn't do so well. It stinks, but you just got to keep that level of composure, get back in the next one, study as hard as you can, take that test again, and then just hope that you can kind of keep growing um, after learning those lessons and maybe not doing so well the first time.
Right. How do you, or what tips would you share for the youngsters who want to keep that level of composure? Because it's very easy for us to sit here in air-conditioned rooms or heated
Yeah,
rooms and say,
yeah.
like, hey, let's keep that composure. And then you're out there on the field and you give up 4 goals in a row, and
Mhm.
the offense is chirping you, and you're like, man, in your own head, you're like, really, that last one, 5 hole, like I knew it was. You know what I mean? Like, how do you keep
Yeah,
that level of composure?
yeah. No, it's hard, especially in a game, and especially when you let in 4 goals or whatever it is. But just being able to say to completely erase that in your head, it's the next shot mentality. Liam Entman said it all the time to me. He's like, I struggle. He was like, I struggled my freshman and sophomore year with just dealing with like crap. He was going up and he was going down and he was riding that roller coaster. just next shot mentality. It's you're 0 for 0 after that
Hmm.
ball goes in. You don't
Yeah.
have a save, you don't have a goal let in. So it's like you got to keep that as much as you can. I mean, it's hard, especially when things aren't going your way, but just to trust yourself and everything that you've done in preparation for that, um, and being able to just say next shot doesn't
Hmm.
matter what just happened.
Hmm.
Either like doing something like tapping the post or something like that is a big piece of some stuff that I do. Just to kind of lock yourself in and remember that steady yourself. It's one
Yeah.
goal. It's not four goals that just happened. It's one goal that just happened. Now it's on to the next.
That's what I was going to say that you kind of alluded to there. One thing that really helps is having a reset routine. So, like, you give
Mhm.
up a goal or something, it doesn't have to be a goal, it could be like a bad play.
Yeah.
And you just have a routine that you go through so that, like, and that you trust and that you know can kind of bring you back. And it sounds like yours maybe is tap the posts. Do you do
Mhm.
anything else specifically in your routine?
I mean, a little bit of breathing just to chill me out,
Yeah.
calm me down. I would
Yeah.
say breathing, tapping the post. I like kind of trying to block out everything else, like stare at like a piece of turf on the ground or something, try to
Mm.
lock yourself back in, or get a drink of water. I have a water bottle in the cage, so take a drink of water, splash some water on the face just to cool down.
Yeah.
But little things like that help me.
Yeah, I love that focus on like a piece of grass.
Hmm.
I interviewed two goalies in a row, and they both mentioned this ice hockey goalie, Holtby, who like would
Yeah,
squirt up water
yeah,
and like follow one drop all the way to the
hmm
ground. And I was
yeah,
like, all right, I got to go check that out.
yeah.
Anyway,
No,
that's just a technique
that's
that you
funny.
can use to focus
Yeah,
in, right?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Very cool. I remember I interviewed Liam a bunch. I've talked with Liam a bunch.
Yeah,
One of the best goalies in our sport.
yeah.
Guy is awesome. And he like consistently harped on that like keeping, even keel, right? Not
Hmm.
get too high, not get too low. Are you like that as well in the sense of like you don't get too high? Because I can understand like not getting too low. Nobody wants to get too low. But I was always the kind of goalie where like when I made a play, like I kind of I rode that high and it worked for me. Are you more
Yeah.
even keel?
I would say it depends on the situation. Sometimes I mean I love like I would say that I'm a really competitive person. So when it comes to like playing games and stuff, like I sometimes flip a switch in my head and I'm like I just feel like I don't know, riding
Mm-hmm.
that high, but
Mm-hmm.
um I think I play my best when I just start off by like being completely calm and like not having anything in my head, any thoughts in my head or anything like that. But I would say that in game sometimes I do get to that high and I love being up there because I feel like I am playing my best. Um, but it's those you kind of black out and you feel like that in that flow state when you're up there.
Yeah.
Especially in games. I remember I mean like I remember a few games this past year where I was riding that high and I felt it felt good and I and the game ended, and I'm like, oh my God, like what just happened? Like I don't remember a
Yeah.
single play that just happened. So
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. It didn't happen to me all that much, unfortunately. But there was one game specifically we played against Santa Barbara in Santa Barbara, and it was like I was just such in a flow state where like after the game, like the whole team comes up to you like, "Damn, Damon, like you played so good," and you're I was literally like, "Really?" Like
Yeah.
didn't even like
Yeah.
process. I was just having so much fun and making a ton of saves, and yeah, so. How do we get into that flow state more consistently?
For me, it's literally trying not to think about anything. Stay as neutral as possible. Whatever that means to you, it's just I would say like it depends on the person, but for me, it's like when the ball's not in the zone, I'm just not talking. I'm staying still, watching the play, trying to almost like not pay attention, but pay attention at the same time. I know it doesn't
Yeah,
really make much sense, but um, trying to kind of feel a sense of calmness get over me. Those deep breaths really help.
yeah,
But it all depends on, I guess, the game situation as well and the way the game's going. But
yeah. So for you,
it's hard.
it's kind of not letting that talk track in your head play,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, no, yeah,
Okay.
completely shutting off that. There's a book that our coach gave us. It was the inner game of tennis, and there's two selves. There's the one that the negative one where you're telling yourself, "Oh, or there's the inner talk where you're like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. But just by shutting that off, you can kind of get yourself into a state where you're relying on your instinct or you're relying on just your reaction, preparation. And that's kind of where I try to get.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good book. It also taught the inner game of tennis, also taught me like if, somebody's having like a great day playing
Hmm.
tennis, you can kind of throw them off their game by like getting them to think about the technique and be like,
Yeah.
hey, like, your serve, like, how are you throwing the ball a little higher or like how far back are you bringing your arm?
Yeah.
And so then they start
Yeah.
thinking about it and then they're not
Yep.
flowing, right?
Yeah. No,
All right.
exactly.
Um, I don't want to give give attackmen some ways to get in our heads, but
Yeah.
could be
Yeah.
it. Awesome. So you grew up like in Connecticut, yeah,
Hmm.
and lacrosse is pretty big out there, I imagine. Were you able to
Yeah.
find like some good camps, some good coaches? Like, how'd you go about learning the
Yeah.
position?
Yeah, no, I mean there was a really great goalie there were two really great goalies at New Canaan High School, where I grew up, and Drew Morris, he played at Maryland,
Oh
and a
yeah.
guy named Tom Carey, who played at Ohio State. And those were two of the guys that I really looked up to growing up. And luckily they were like generous enough to give lessons, especially back then, or a few years ago, or I guess well, that would be 10 years ago now, but um, and I learned a lot from them just about the position, um, about how to like approach the position in the sense of that, and just learned a lot from them, and it really helped me growing like throughout my high school career, and I guess that'll be
Mm-hmm.
middle school and high school career. Um, and so I'm really grateful for them.
Nice. If you were going to teach a youngster like goalie, someone comes to you and like, hey, Tommy, I love a lesson. I played attack for 2 years, never played goalie at all. What are you
Mhm.
teaching them on day one? What are some of those basic lessons that they
Yeah.
taught you?
Well, yeah, I would say that the first lesson I learned is there's no one style to play goalie, and I
Yeah.
think that's really important for everyone to understand. It's kind of it's better off mastering your own individual style and whatever that might be, than trying to teach them. I mean, obviously, if it's someone's first time playing goalie, you're gonna say, "Hey, your hands should be around elbow width apart, and your feet should be shoulder width apart. You should be in ready position, bent knees, and whatnot."
Hmm.
But some guys are really good at flopping, and that's a skill they have, but they might not be as good at getting those high shots. So if a goalie comes and they're like, hey, like I don't know, I'm not making a lot of high saves, then it's like, all right, well, you must be not staying patient enough when the shot's coming, and you're maybe guessing that the ball's going to go down. Um, so I mean, it depends on the goalie, obviously, but for a
Yeah.
beginner, I'd say if you're really good at something, keep like get really good at it, stay really good at it, but
Yeah.
push yourself to be uncomfortable in the sense of like work on those things that you know you're not good at. Like for me, I don't want to spoil, but I have like an issue getting down to my stick side low sometimes. And that's just something that I have to practice every day. So it's tough.
Yeah. Um, yeah. How do you let's talk about that a little bit. So if you have an issue stick side low,
Mm.
do you go like looking for drills to do? Is it just a matter of like looking at some tape and seeing what's going on? Is it a matter of getting 500 stick side low shots? How do you improve a specific flaw in your game like that?
Yeah, I would say that I'm a big like feel player in the sense that I don't really have a specific way I play. So like possession by possession, it almost changes. So for those like stick side low shots where if I'm like feeling like, wow, I'm not really saving those very well, I will look at film, be like, what am I doing? Like, because in my head, I can't see myself from someone else's perspective and be like, oh, he's hedging too far on that on off stick side, or he's doing so. Film is really important to me.
Yeah.
And some stuff that I realize is like, wow, I'm way too crouched, or I'm standing way too tall, and it changes, I guess, for me over the year, the way that like how I'm playing flows. But um, I would say looking at film definitely helps. And just, I remember like I have videos still on my camera roll of me in like middle school taking videos of myself with no shots, just going from place to place, being like, oh, do I look like I'm moving efficiently? Do I look like
Right.
I'm athletic? And stuff like that. So that's stuff that I've done over the years that it's a little interesting, but it's definitely helped.
Yeah, I love that. Well, you mentioned, there's no like one way to play goalie. There's a lot of
Mhm.
different ways, and that's something that like it's a fundamental thing that I believe in.
Yeah.
as well. But if you're a youngster and like you don't have a coach and like you want to improve, that's a great way is just kind of film yourself and then like look at some of the the D1 or the pro goalies and
Hmm.
you're like, am I moving like them, right? Do I
Yeah.
stand like, and not that you have to like mimic their stance
Hmm.
completely, because there's different stances, different
Yeah.
movements, different ways to make low saves, high saves. But do I look like them? And if you're going to model your game after, those top level goalies, you're probably going to be doing okay,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
regardless of
Yeah.
what style that you pick.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
now so you mentioned Drew. Are there other goalies that you kind of, as you were growing up, that you kind of watched and sort of like, you're like, oh man, I love the way he does X, Y, and Z. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. I mean, a big one was wow, there's so many. I mentioned Tom Carey. Tom Carey's who is someone who I really feel like I have the same sort of body shape and size, and I feel like athletic ability as him. So he was someone I watched a lot. Um, Trying to think of other ones. I mean, so many of those MLL goalies that I loved. Galloway, he was just fun to watch.
Yeah.
So he was someone who just brought his athleticism to the field. He played really good goalie, but he was also just an athletic human being. So um, I would say, yeah, some of those guys.
Love it. I mean, talk to me about playing with Liam Entenmann. Did you ever go like, man, that guy's making so many saves. Maybe I'll stand in a complete wide stance and crouch down as
Yeah,
low as I
yeah.
can go.
No, I knew the second I looked at him, I was like, wow, I'm definitely not tall enough to play like him.
Right.
But no, I mean, he was the best. He was the most encouraging, especially in our goalie room.
Mm.
He was the most humble um, person in probably our locker room, and he would just came every single day with intensity and intent, and to like, hey, yeah, it may be a 45-minute walk through practice, but I'm going to be focused the whole time and I'm going to be dialed in asking questions if he needs to ask questions or we're doing like passing drills on the side. He's like, I'm going to make every single pass be a good pass. Like he had that ability to just lock in and it's something that I think I've learned a lot from is because it really does matter. You can't really take um, those practices off that are even though they're walkthroughs, but he just had that intensity the whole time and he had that like humor. He brought that to the position where he's like maybe he said one of the best shooters he's faced is Graham Bundy and he'd be like, holy like that was the fastest. Like he would come off the field and be like, that was the fastest shot I've ever seen. Like stuff around, like joking around and in game
Right.
and stuff and keeping it light and having fun out there. I think that's one thing that I just believe is the biggest piece, and I think he believes as well is just having fun. Because that's what it
Awesome.
is. It's a game. It's fun.
Yeah. He was pretty meticulous with his pregame routine. What do you
Hmm.
do pregame routine?
I don't really have anything that crazy. He had some weird things going on, but
Oh, you juggle the ball 44 times because
oh
his
yeah,
number's
no.
44.
Yeah, exactly. No, I pregame wise, like on the field, I just getting a warm up in a good warm up, and then passing around with the other goalies out there. We love like sitting on the bench, all the goalies, and just kind of chatting, keeping things light before the game because I don't really like to be like that. I don't like going in with the mindset that like, all right, like let's go. I'm dialed in. I'm dialed in. That's sort of what Liam was.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, I like to keep things lighter and because I think I play the best when I'm playing instinctual and to get there, I just need to feel like, all right, this is a fun, like I want to be here. Um, like I love doing this and stuff like that. So
Beauty.
mhm.
Talk to me about your recruiting process to Notre Dame. Why'd you end up selecting that school?
Well, yeah, it was a long story actually. My brother was a grade older than me, and so I basically told myself, hey, like he was really good. He's really good. Graduated last year from Notre Dame, but I was like, wherever he's going, I'm going, no matter what. And so initially we were committed to Penn. Um, and then through like a few months after, or a little bit before my brother's signing day,
Hmm.
um, Coach Wellner at Notre Dame had been texting him for like every single week for the past however long. And so he reached out to Jeffrey and myself, and I had loved Notre Dame when I talks through with Coach Corrigan and Coach Wojcik and Ryder. And so I just fell in love with the place. I didn't get to visit. It was during COVID, so it was tough.
Oh, yeah.
It was tough to go see places and know stuff, but just knowing the Cavs from Taft and just the long lineage of Notre Dame history and the amount of respect that Corrigan has across the lacrosse world and his knowledge of the game and um, the family at Notre Dame. It's really a brotherhood and the whole university. There's so much loyalty to it, and there's so much,
Hmm.
um, I guess, like the network is so big in the sense of people who have just done great things on and off the field. So, um, I mean, there was little decision to be made in the sense that like we were like, all right, Notre Dame's here, like we're going to Notre Dame, like that's just
Nice.
what it is. And I've been so fortunate to be here, and obviously we've had a lot of success over the past few years. Hopefully more in the future. So we'll see.
Let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go. Well, that's awesome. When you get to Notre Dame, would you say like your goalie game changed at all? Did you have to make some adjustments to, I don't know, stance or maybe your arc or how you do specific things?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I was really tight in high school in the sense that like I was I thought that being completely set the whole time was the way to play. For me, it wasn't, especially when shot speeds got up to like, I mean, you have Eric Dobson stepping down on like an on the run shot at like 105 miles an hour. You're like,
Yeah.
like where was this in high school? So, but no, I think that playing loose but also being athletic at the same time was a really big piece for me, just being able to make a save in any spot at any time because those shooters can shoot as fast as they want in exactly where they want. So it's not something you can kind of cheat. And so I think that putting myself in a position to just react based on instinct or based on where I thought the ball was going was the biggest piece. So I'd say instead of being loose or instead of being super tight, just being looser and being able to watch ball, save ball.
Hmm. There's a technique that a lot of goalies use, kind of like a little, just kind of like a real reset of the weight.
Mhm.
Talking kind of, I call it a little
Yeah.
hop, but
Yeah.
some goalies barely even leave the ground. Is that what you're talking about when you say get loose, or do you use that technique?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think that's a big piece, especially for like up the hash shots or down the alley shots when the ball's moving, I guess, in your arc.
Hmm.
Um, because you want to stay ready throughout that whole like stay set the whole time, but it's not easy if you're moving from one spot to another. So those it's something that Liam does a lot is those little hops. And I think I do it a little bit. I think it's instinctual. I don't think I'm trying to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of the really good goalies are trying to do it, but um I guess yeah, it's just an instinct like hopping, being set the whole time. And I think you see it across a lot of college lacrosse goalies and professional goalies.
Yeah, it is an instinct because I remember I sponsored a couple goalies and we were like breaking down film and talking about it.
Hmm.
And like I like show them that move and I go, "Hey, like talk to me about this little hop thing that you're doing right there." And they like look at it like, "Oh, I don't know. It's just something that
Yeah,
I do."
yeah, yeah. No, I think I've learned that I do it just through watching some film, but it really doesn't feel like I'm doing it when I'm on the field.
Yeah. There's some goalies that don't do it and even some coaches that are very
Yeah,
against it, but I love it. And I think that like, if you're doing it right, like that's a huge caveat. Like you got to do it right where you land in an athletic position. But if you
yeah,
do it right, it's nearly impossible to not be in an athletic position and to be balanced, right?
yeah,
And if I
yeah,
take a step on my arc, right? And I don't do that, it's like really hard to get my weight 50-50 just with
yeah,
after taking a step. But if I
yeah.
just do that quick little hop, then
Hmm.
I'm automatically 50-50. I'm balanced.
Yeah,
And that's like half the battle of being a
yeah,
lacrosse goalie is getting those feet set and
yeah,
being balanced, right?
yeah. No, I completely agree. I think that you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly like what it is and what I feel. And I think it's important.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
also grew up playing tennis and baseball infielder,
Hmm.
and they teach you that move. And so
Yeah,
like I was like, all right, well, let's do it.
yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Other lessons that Coach Corrigan's big on. Anything else come to mind? Things he's constantly harping with you and the boys.
Yeah, I mean, I that poise part's a big piece.
Boys.
I would say, I mean, it's intention in everything you do. I think that a bunch of coaches say that, but him especially is like you got to have intention. Like you can't just take a practice off. You can't take a rep off. You could be working really hard, but if you're not working really hard at the right thing, then it's not really doing much for you or for the team. Um, and I think that that's like a big piece. He loves like getting on people, and we love it because that makes us so much better. Um, So his ability to kind of lift you up in the sense that like he's making you better and you know he's making you better. So that respect between both sides of it is big. Um, but on the things he says a lot, he's kind of all over whatever's needed is he says,
Hmm.
which I appreciate, and he's candid in his language and stuff like that. So, but I would say that one thing that poise piece is really big
All
amongst
right.
us, especially.
Poise,
Yeah,
yeah, and poise and intention, right?
yeah,
Don't just go through the motions of whatever you do, wall ball or
yeah,
juggling. It's like everything is national championship level of effort, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
exactly.
good. Yeah, well, that's a great piece of advice. And poise. So, um, yeah, love it. And then so you're part of some pretty historic, national championship runs. I mean, you watching, and kind of like how did you feel kind of going through those runs and with your role on the team?
Yeah, no, it was definitely different. I got here freshman year after starting 4 years at high school,
Yeah.
um, and it was tough. I mean, you get to a really good school with the really good players and you realize that wow, you got a lot of learning to do. You got to get better. um, and so it was tough my first year mentally, but I mean Liam was I mean he's the best goalie in the world playing.
Right.
So it's like you can't really say much about him, but no, and he definitely was the best goalie in the world during that time, and he taught me so much about just learning and being patient. But yeah, no, I was a punching bag for the first few years. You get in there, you're playing against some of the best offensive players that have played college lacrosse in the past 10 years. So it was just a great experience to be playing against like Pat Cav and Chris Cav and Pevlin and all those guys. And so I learned a lot through just on the receiving end of it and getting better saving the ball. And I think my mental strength grew a lot during that time
Hmm.
because you just get down on yourself. You're like, wow, is this ever going to end? Um, but we got the reward of two national championships, so I couldn't be more grateful for that. That even though maybe the work of those guys that are playing scout team or whatever um, goes unnoticed, it's really the biggest piece I would say for those winning teams is something I realized last year too, that you have to kind of have a really good unit of scout guys that are fine with where they are and what they're doing,
Yeah.
um and they are kind of the base of the team in the sense that they make those one guys better. So, and that's something I learned through my second year was like my job isn't to save the ball on game day, but I'm going to try to make it as hard as possible during practice. So those guys that are going out there in game day are going to score every time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's a topic I've talked about with several goalies on this show is that like, even if you're not the starter, you have like so many ways to contribute. I mean, if you're
yeah.
practicing 5, 6 days a week, like you play a game for an hour, and so like,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
you're training so much with those goalies. And not only
Hmm.
that, like, you said I'll make the ones like, the offense better, but also like I'm sure like pushing Liam, right? Be like, hey man, like I know you're the best in the world, but like I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna work my tail
Yeah.
off and
Yeah.
try to earn that starting spot, right? So
Hmm.
that in return, like, you gotta keep up.
Yeah.
And
No, definitely.
yeah. So awesome. And then you get your own championship run of yourself last season, kind of step in
Mhm.
and make some things happen. You feel pressure in those big games? And how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think that pressure is a privilege in that sense, and it's like you earn your spot on that field. Um, and you just kind of have to be grateful for the opportunity to be out there. Looking back at it now, there's some things I want back, there's saves I want back, there's um, I mean, a lot, especially in that Penn State game, but you can't really think about that. You learned you learned a good lesson. Loses or losses, you learn more than the wins. So I learned a lot about myself during that time, especially. I mean, in the games we won, yeah, but in the goals that I've let up, especially during those championship runs, like it's lacrosse is just bumps to another degree. Lacrosse is way better, way faster. Even though it's fast during regular season games, it just gets faster. The teams get better, the players
Hmm.
get better. And so being able to kind of lean on that this upcoming year is going to be a big piece for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I think I watched that Notre Dame Penn State game and you guys had like a pretty good sizable lead kind of going right in
Mhm.
at the beginning. What is there a lesson you mentioned like I've learned some lessons that I'm going to take with me to next season. What like, what specifically? Anything you could share?
Yeah, no, I'd say that I harped on it at the beginning of just being able to forget, but that's one of those times where I wasn't able to.
Hmm.
They went on that. They went. I think they went 8 goals in a row.
Yeah.
Um, maybe not 8 goals in a row, but something around there. And it's hard not to be hard on yourself, especially in a position like that, playing in the quarterfinals. Um, but I think that just being able to forget, like you have to, it's just reality. And even in a moment like that where you're like, oh crap, all right, they're getting closer to winning. They're getting closer to winning and they're getting close. And then all of a sudden they do. It's really a big piece of just being able to keep yourself in a spot where you're next shot mentality every single time.
Yeah. Such a big theme on the show, right? And just kind of
Mhm.
keep going back to that every single time. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Very cool. What other, we talked about, let's see, the poise. We talked about the next shot mentality. You guys talk about any other mental game lessons as a team?
Um, I mean, not in specific. I would say that those are kind of the few of the biggest pieces, but
Yeah.
um, no, I wouldn't say anything else, to be honest.
Okay. Well, good luck in the upcoming season. What do you think? What would you say is was your best game last season? If we had to do a save edit of you for last season, I might have done it. But any
Um,
games come to mind?
wow. Not really. I don't. I would maybe the Duke game. I thought I had a really good game, especially against an ACC opponent at home. Um, I remember that game, just me having a lot of fun in that game,
Yeah,
just all over the field. So, but nothing else really comes to mind.
that's cool. I mentioned before we hit record, I did this event with Sean Light, a Notre
Hmm.
Dame Notre Dame defender. What do what are the qualities that you as a goalie think make a great defender?
Ooh. Um, Being able to, wow, that's a really good question. First off is being really good at communicating. I think that we have three
Yeah.
of the best defensemen in the sense of just being able to communicate with each other really efficiently, really effectively, because you could be talking on the field, but it could be the wrong thing, and you don't
Yeah.
want that. You want to be the right thing at all times. Really, I mean, on ball guys are really good. It's really nice to have really good on ball guys, and
Yeah.
we have two of those. We have Sean
Yeah.
and Nate Schwitzenberg, but if you aren't, I guess, the most athletic and have those athletic kind of gifts, just being really good at playing in your system. Everyone tries to maybe do too much or to go out and strip the ball and do everything they can, but being really good, kind of like just keeping your stick on their hands. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain
Yeah.
it. But it's like
Yeah.
it's a calm sort of defense versus like going out and attacking. I think it really gives me the sense of like comfort and confidence in the net if those guys uh, are not trying to do too much. They're playing within the system, trusting kind of the defense. So I'd say it's that really good communication, really good technique wise. I guess that would go into that, and then just being able to play together, play off of one another. I think
Right.
that that's one of the biggest pieces, and I think that um, we have a really good defense this year and this past year just because everyone has a certain skill set and they're using that skill set in their own way and they're relying on the other guys to fill those skill sets that maybe they don't have. And I know that Sean will admit this too, but Sean might say that he's not a very good off-ball defenseman. Well, we have two other guys who are excellent off-ball defensemen
Mm.
who kind of fill that role if need be. So
Yeah.
um, kind of finding your role and staying trusting what you can do
Yeah. I
and
love
trusting the
that.
other guy.
I love that. Yeah, well, his presentation was on like being a lockdown defender, and that was
Yeah.
one of the things he said is that like, you don't need six lockdown defenders. If you
Oh
got
no.
them,
Yeah.
great. But like,
Yeah.
you do
Yeah.
need that off ball guy, and you do need
Yeah.
the guy that's like great at communication.
Yep.
And maybe you do need that punisher, right?
Yeah.
Who's gonna knock
Yeah.
somebody on their butt and let them
Yeah.
know like you can't come in the middle of the crease like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. And then, yeah, that fundamental defense thing that you said was funny because, like, a lot of times when I do these events, the young kids are like, what are some cool checks? Like,
Yeah,
what's your
yeah,
favorite check?
yeah,
Like, how do I take the
yeah,
ball? Like, give me your checks.
yeah.
And I remember Chris Conlon, Notre Dame, was like, I don't do
No,
checks. Like, I
nope,
don't do takeaway checks. I just,
no,
it's fundamental defense. Stay on the hands, be annoying, and
yeah.
that's great D, right? You
Yeah,
like
no,
those
I
guys.
completely agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all that's something Corgan also says is like he will point out if you throw it and over the head or something, like you're done. You're
Yeah.
out for that rep. You're out for the next rep. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's stick to hands. You make more disruption by just keeping your stick in their hands than you do by throwing those crazy checks.
Yeah. Now, in your guys' system, what is your role communication wise as the goalie? You're calling out the ball? Do you call it
Yep.
the slides, or do you let your teammates take care of that?
Yeah, that's all on the defense, not the goalie. So we really kind of put a stress on like if you know the defense, that's great, but you do not have to be a really good defensive mind to be a goalie at Notre Dame.
Mm,
Your job is to save the ball, and I mean we call out like check when the ball is like fed into the crease, skips if the ball goes over. Being able to make it as easy as possible for the defense to be able to set up in a position for them to be successful to slide or to recover or whatnot. So
yeah.
um, I'm not really out there control like putting like every piece into place and
Right.
doing that because our job is really to save the ball and um, it's not an easy job. So
No,
so
no.
yeah,
That's what I talk about with some youngsters who are really struggling with both the communication and the saves is like, you focus on the saves because no one else can make the saves.
yeah,
Your teammates can help you with communication. And if you say like, hey, like, you guys do this handle the slides. Ideally you can do both, but
yeah,
sometimes it's a little too much and your teammates can help
yeah,
you out. What
yeah.
about like the communication? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna add like our coaches don't like us to understand the defense, but if you're a younger goalie, I would say it's really, really, really important to understand how a defense works, how a defense flows, because that really helps
Yeah,
you with where shots could come from. Say,
right.
hey, oh, we're an AJ sliding team. Well, a shot's probably going to come from a guy who either got slid off of or it's going to be 1-2 and then dodging me from a different guy who might be open two passes later because you're making two AJ slides or a guy sliding from the crease. So the crease guy might be open. So you got to expect that the ball is going to be fed into the crease and the shot could come from the crease and stuff like that. So I think it's important for younger goalies to understand how their defense works and
Yeah,
whatever that system is.
love it. Um, AJ, like adjacent. I don't know if I've ever heard that before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah,
No, it's all good.
adjacent.
I was
Yeah,
AJ. What's an AJ slide? Some guy named
no,
AJ sliding
yeah,
sliding.
no, no, yeah.
Very cool. Do you watch a lot of film on opposing teams,
Um,
shooters?
Not really. I would say that we do like some of our coaches compile good like tendencies, or you just hear through. I mean, like watching college lacrosse, like you kind of watch everybody that you play.
Yeah,
Just I mean, you watch a guy that's like, oh, he loves like Brandon O'Neill. Liam used to watch him all the time and grew up playing against him all the time. He's like, well, this guy
yeah,
loves sweeping to his left hand, shooting it backside off stick hip. And I remember that like vividly in a game against Duke, he did that exact thing and was there before the ball even got there. And so stuff like that definitely does help. But for me, I try to keep it as instinctual as possible. So not trying to guess where guys are going through games and stuff. Like you'll see like, oh, this guy loves going high to high to the off stick side. It's like, okay, well, maybe I'll sit there a little bit longer, but I'm not going to really go into a game that much thinking about it. But I'll
mm.
definitely watch guys and where they like taking shots from.
Yeah. It's an interesting balance because I know
Mhm.
I know some goalies like really, really love kind of
Yeah,
just watching all the tendencies, and then others are kind of more like, yeah, like, all right, he's a righty and he likes to shoot from this position, and that's all I want to
yeah,
know because then I can
yeah,
just kind of be free mentally and
yeah,
just make the save. I watch so much lacrosse that I'm more on the like I think if I was playing nowadays, I would study shooters all the time and just kind of
yeah,
know like the tricks they have up their sleeve. Like, I'd watch Colin Kirst CJ Kirst, sorry, drive down the alley and do that
Yeah.
leaner all the
Mhm.
time where
Yeah.
like he kind of
Yeah.
fakes like he's going to shoot low with his shoulders and then rips it
Hmm.
high and get goalies
Yeah.
all the time. And even to where I'm
Yeah.
like watching the game, I'm like, here it comes. Don't go
Yeah.
low. Bam,
Yeah.
got him.
Yeah.
So just
No, I
knowing that
know.
he's got
Yeah.
that in his sleeve, I
Yeah.
think helps me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think it is that there is a balance between the two of knowing what they do and reacting, I guess,
Yeah,
in game situation.
very cool. Where are you guys at in the season right now? So it's you finished up your fall ball?
We're finishing up fall ball. I think it's this week is the last week of like scheduled practice, and then in a few weeks we're gonna start playing box, which is the first year we've ever done it, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
But box, and then we usually play some sixes, which keeps things fun and a lot
Yeah.
of creative game. Not as fun for the goalies in the sense of getting hit all the time, but I
Yeah.
love just messing around in sixes and making those fun doorstop saves. And you might save one of 20, but you still made a really cool one save. So, but that's where it's going. A lot of lifting over the next few weeks and getting stronger and faster. And then yeah, brings us to Christmas. Then we'll come back a few weeks early for preseason
Hmm.
for springtime.
Beautiful. Now, in the box game, are you throwing on the pads? Are you the goalie?
I would hope so. I would hope so. Or if I'm not the one in net, I would love to be on the field. I love playing like normal field position.
Yeah.
Um, and I think in box it would be a lot of fun to be out to be able to go out and do that. Because I think that for me at least, one of my skill sets is just having like a really good confident stick.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that being able to go do that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. There's benefit in both. I think, throwing on all the pads, you see so many shots and you can
Hmm.
kind of like, I used to say that I don't recommend goalies play box because that was because like when I played box, I just played like a field player, like standing
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
no
yeah,
pads, and I just got
yeah.
like
As
absolutely
shelled. Yeah,
beat up.
yeah, yeah,
And so I'm like,
yeah,
this stinks. I'm gonna go
yeah,
play in the field as a box player. Had
yep,
a great time,
yeah,
learned a ton.
yeah,
And then I realized when you put on all the pads, like there's actually a tremendous amount of benefit in terms of just seeing all
yeah,
these shots, stick
yeah,
angles, releases. So
yeah. Yeah, because it
um,
is different. It is different in the sense of like how people score, because there
yeah,
isn't a lot of room to shoot. So they are getting creative with these angles and where they're coming from, and it does
right.
help. So I have done it in the past, and I love it. But if I don't have those pads, I don't think I'm. I hope I'm not in there.
Yeah, and I and just I think the patience level that you learn too, because like
Yeah.
a lot of times they're on the crease and you think they're gonna shoot here, and it's
Hmm.
like they're doing all these fakes all the way over, and then end up shooting over there. So
Yeah, definitely.
and then the sixes game is interesting. So sixes, it's going to be in the Olympics. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like, in many ways, the future, the sport, and you're
Yeah.
seeing a lot more sixes. Um, and it's in a lot of ways, it's like tougher on goalies, sixes, but in some ways, it's easier, I think, especially mentally, because it's more like basketball, where when you get scored
Yeah.
on, it's like take the ball out and
Yeah.
go, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. And I was actually talking to Liam recently about that. Um, And he's like, yeah, I think he's like at training. They did the Sixers training camp for the US, and he was like, yeah, I think I made like 1 out of 10 saves, but like it was a really good save, and like I was really happy about it. And he was like, it didn't
Yeah.
matter. It's like it is refreshing in the sense that like you're out there, like if you save the ball, it's a luxury. But your job is to start the offense right away.
Yeah.
It's something we've done the past few years here, and it's a lot of fun because if you can get a bunch of saves, like it does affect the game a lot. Um, so it puts a big reliance on not a big reliance on the goalie, but it's like they could be a very impactful player in
Yeah.
in the Sixers game.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, totally. I remember talking to Washuda when he was going through the championship series, and he kind of said like, really, the pressure's off because you're not expected to make. They're shooting
No,
right on top of
yeah,
you, so like I
yeah,
don't, you don't need like this 60%. You don't need to go 60%.
yeah,
But yeah, so he enjoyed it.
yeah. No, it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun doing sixes.
Yeah, there's
In
also an
that.
added emphasis on missing the goal. Um,
Yeah.
because no chasing out, right? You miss the goal. That's kind of
Hmm.
a turnover. Do you ever like play a little bit differently? I'm gonna step
Oh
out a
yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that stepping out during sixes is is really beneficial. I mean, it's beneficial in the like normal lacrosse game as well.
Yeah.
It's something that like especially for me, it's been helpful for in close shots in like normal lacrosse games. It's something that I've learned to like start doing a little bit more is because maybe you don't save it, but the guy misses the net. Like they had a shot and a 1-0. Like you
Right.
kind of basically you can count that as a save in your mind. So um, and it helps you with working on kind of different angles and oh, this guy's down coming down this way. If I shade one side maybe a little bit more and play those angles a little bit differently, how can I affect the shooter to shoot where I want him to shoot instead of
Mm.
him being able to just put where he wants it.
Right. Right. That's cool. Awesome. Well, good luck in the upcoming season. Did your guys' schedule come out yet or no, not yet?
It's not officially released.
Okay.
I don't even know who we're playing, to be completely honest with you. We don't really release it until much later on in the season. I think it's something Corgan likes to do, but
All
I
right.
would like to know who we're playing.
All right. Me too. Yeah. We'll get on that one.
Yeah.
What about the stick setup? What do you use for your wand?
Yeah, I mean, I have a normal mid pocket. I like a lot of channel in my stick. I think that it's really big for me passing wise, just because I love getting the ball out quick,
Yeah.
especially if I make a clean stick save. So having a decent amount of channel in there to keep that ball in the center of the pocket. I used to use two U's, um, but have slowly been fading away from it, just because I think that every few throws there's a little bit more whip.
Mm.
So I've been using like the ghost pocket as I think everybody says it, so no
Yeah.
shooting strings at all. Liam did it, I think, after he saw Logan do it, and so it's kind of just been this weird succession of goalies having no shooting strings, and I think it's really beneficial, especially if you're a goalie that loves playing quick,
Yeah.
and generating offense um, through transition.
Cool. Eclipse 3? What do you go with for the
Eclipse
head?
3. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Eclipse 3. I have a Evo QX like carbon shaft. I love light. I need a light goalie shaft. I don't know what
Oh
it is. A
yeah.
lot of some goalies like the metal or the whatever it is, the I think metal shaft, but I love having like a light, thin kind of goalie shaft that I can kind of wrap my hand around
That's how
and yeah.
that's what I do too. I like it as
Yeah.
light as possible. So
Hmm.
I got like I have a String King one on there and it's
Yeah.
like they have different levels. This one's for 7-year-olds and it's like 135 grams.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, I think that that helps me. Because it puts a lot of weight in the front of the head, which
Yeah.
I like because you can kind of use the momentum from this is I mean, it could be completely false, but you can use some of that momentum to get to those lower shots a little bit easier. So, yeah.
Yeah. I remember I was talking and someone was like, "Well, what about like the fulcrum point of the stick?" And I'm just,
Yeah.
man, I don't know what you're. I
Yeah.
just, it
Yeah.
feels really good in
Yeah.
my hands.
Yeah.
Like
No, yeah.
it's all
That's
I
sort
need
of
to
why I
know.
am too. Yeah.
Yeah, nerd. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Awesome, Tommy. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and good luck in the upcoming season. Gonna be fun to watch you play out there. And if you had to lead the goalies out there with a final piece of advice, what would that be?
Yeah, I'd say have fun with it. Be creative and have fun. I think that it's definitely a position where you have a lot of room to be creative, even though it might not seem like it. And so, kind of having fun. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. I think when you put too much pressure on yourself, you kind of see things go downhill. So keep things light, keep things fun, keep things creative. I think those are kind of the three biggest things that I try to push for those younger goalies.
Awesome, Tommy. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.